Did you know the Japanese actually consume more coffee than tea on average each year? Whether you're a coffee connoisseur or you're just looking for a caffeine hit, you'll be delighted by Tokyo's cafe culture since it's like no other. Today I'll be taking you to 8 of the best cafes in Tokyo. Let's get drinking. This here is Fuglen and is one of my absolute favorite cafes here in Tokyo. I have been here so many times I can't even count. And this is the Tokyo location, which is in Yoyogi, and it's right across from Yoyogi Park. And this place is so popular. Like, there's always a line, and it's very popular, I think, on Instagram because outside is very aesthetic. And it's actually a Norwegian style cafe. So the owner is from like Oslo, and so it's very inspired by Norwegian food. They have like some pastries from there, but I am obsessed with their coffee. So today I've gone for a hot latte, and it's in this nice tall glass. It's really smooth. I often come here and get flat whites because it's on the, I think it's on the menu, or it's on like the secret Ura menu. And the cool thing about this place is really the aesthetic. It's just a really cool hip place. It's what you think of hipster when you come here. And all the staff, they're very good with English. And I actually come here so often that there's a staff member who recognized me and he's like, "Oh, hi, Sarah." So that was really nice. And they have a few locations throughout Tokyo. There's one in Asakusa, there's one in Hanegi-koen, as well as a recent location that popped up in Sangubashi. So they're starting to spread, and I think there's actually one in Fukuoka too. It's just like honestly my favorite place, and I highly, highly recommend it. And if you do go to Asakusa, they have these waffles, they're Norwegian waffles, and they put all kinds of toppings on there. Even if you just get it plain, it's so tasty, but my go-to is like the breakfast one, which has like a poached egg, avocado, tomato. It's so good. But this place where I'm at now in Yoyogi actually turns into a bar at night time, so it's like a night cafe. And they do cocktails, they have beer. It's a really fancy vibe. I recommend it for date nights, or just if you want to come here and just hang out, you can read a book. So yeah, this is one of the best cafes in Tokyo, in my opinion. One of the unique points about this cafe is that they have outdoor seating, which is still not that big of a thing here in Tokyo, because where I'm from in Australia, outdoor cafes and seating is super common, and I love that about Fuglen in Yoyogi. I've decided to move inside to enjoy a different kind of atmosphere here, and because it's so early in the morning, I've been able to order the morning menu. It is available all day, but it often sells out, and it's this brown cheese on some brown bread, and it looks incredible. So this brown cheese is actually from Norway. It's supposedly quite soft, and I've never tried it before, so I'm very excited. On the side here, you think maybe this is cream cheese or something. No, this is actually an oshibori, which is the Japanese term for wet towel, and it's actually warm. Okay, now that my hands are somewhat cleaner than they were a moment ago, I'm gonna give this brown cheese toast a go. I don't know how to explain this cheese. It's like sweet, salty, and then creamy at the same time. That's so interesting. It tastes like a cheese I've had before, but then at the same time it tastes nothing like it. If you're Norwegian, let me know down below if this is your go-to breakfast item. One of my favorite cafes in Tokyo is called Paddler's Coffee, and it's really cute because inside it feels like you're in a wooden cabin in Canada, and then you can sit outside where they have wooden like seats, and I'm sitting amongst the sakura. You can see the petals just falling down, and they honestly do some of the best coffee in Tokyo. So I have a flat white here, and I can take my first sip. So tasty. But the atmosphere can't be beat. This is definitely one of my absolute faves. And of course you have to be here during spring to experience this, but during the autumn they also have like a autumn leaf tree, which is for some reason still red right now. And in the colder seasons I like sitting inside because it's like really cozy, and you got like a little big window you can look out, and yeah, it's just a really, really nice local coffee spot. And this is in the Sasazuka Hatagaya area, which is a little far out, but if you just take a train from Shimokitazawa or Shinjuku, it's pretty easy to access. And if you're into like hot dogs, they do American style hot dogs, but I'm always just here for like a good coffee. Yeah, they also use the beans from Stumpton Coffee Roasters, which is a really popular coffee roaster here. I think it's from like San Francisco, somewhere in America. So while sitting here enjoying my lovely latte, A sakura petal literally flew into, well, fluttered down into my coffee. Right in the middle of Shibuya at Shibuya Parko is a really high-end coffee store, and this is called Torahebi, and Tora means tiger, hebi means snake. And my friend Campbell works here.
Hello.
A fellow Aussie in Tokyo. And I have the privilege to try one of these exclusive coffees because I'm telling you, they are very premium, and there's a big reason for that, which I'll explain later. But let me get to ordering, and I think there's a bit of a process where I'm going to smell the beans first. So let's get right into it.
So our most popular one is our aged blend, which is this one here. So it has a strawberry and chocolate fragrance, but we're making this without adding any flavors or chemicals. So.
Oh my goodness, this smells so sweet. Was it strawberry, this one?
Yeah, so it's like strawberry and like a bit of a chocolate fragrance.
That's crazy. Like, this is actually the sweetest. The moment I walked into this coffee store, I was like swept up by this sweet aroma, which I've never had before. Like, it doesn't smell like your typical coffee in like a good, fun way. And apparently there's a sake one. I would like to smell that. Like, they use sake kasu?
This is our sake aged blend.
It actually does taste, well, not taste, but it smells like sake. But I've heard it tastes like it too. Okay, so the menu had a lot of unique items on it, and I may have spent the largest amount of money ever on a single cup of coffee today. It was 1,500 yen, which is about 15 Australian dollars, but I have high expectations because the way they produce the coffee here is so unique, but I want to try this before it gets cold. This here is the aged blend. Okay, that is really easy to drink. Usually I don't go for coffee that is just black. I'm always a latte girl, but my friend told me that this is really easy to drink for people who don't even have milk in their coffee, and he's been a bit converted. I'm blown away. This is really light and sweet coffee with like natural tones of sweetness. According to Campbell, my friend working here, the owner of this coffee chain, when he started it, in his previous life he was a scientist, and so he knew a lot about like chemistry as well as like the molecules and the things that are found in food. And when he wanted to start his coffee business, he wanted to like replicate the flavors of real food. And so, for example, this strawberry like coffee, he'd look at like the molecules within a strawberry, and then in order to like replicate that, he had to find beans which had the same kind of molecules. Look, I'm not a science person, so I'm explaining it as best as I can, but he's engineered coffee in an art, and they don't use single origin beans here because in order to get like these flavors, he needs to like combine the beans. I don't know how he works, but he's done some magic. It's pretty unique. While you're dining here, you can actually taste some of the other coffees they have. So I've got two. I have the sake aged blend, and they're both iced, as well as the one that I ordered, the aged blend, but iced. So, oh, this is definitely the sake. Ooh, that's sake-like. Ooh, hints of sake. I've come to a cafe called Heart's Life Coffee here in Shibuya. Well, it's a bit out of the main Shibuya area, and I'm very excited because I was recommended this, and I've ordered an iced cafe latte, and it's so beautiful. Like, look at this cup. I've never seen anything like it, and apparently Ken-san is in it. Yeah, he's so sweet. He let me go in the cafe and film, and apparently there's something special about this iced latte is that he wants me to drink it without mixing it. So I'm gonna have the first 3 sips and have the pure espresso that's kind of like layered on top. It looks magnificent. And there's another thing on the menu here called an LSD, and it looks really cool. So I'm gonna have to give that a go later, but this is so smooth. Espresso ga nanka karui kanji shimasu. Nanka oishii.
So, a big called roasting yesterday.
You roasted it yesterday?
Yesterday.
So the beans are roasted in-house here. I can see the machine right back there. So everything is really light. I think usually when I have espresso, it's way too heavy. But this is super easy to drink. めっちゃ美味しい。やばい。Oh. Obviously, this cafe really makes sure that everything that they use in the ingredients and the beans are just sourced from good places. Oh, and there's more customers coming. This place is popular and I'm like so hyped. This place is awesome. Trying the LSD, which I've never seen in any other cafe in Tokyo. It's a really slight sweetness. It's not overwhelming. Actually could have this kind of sugary coffee. I always wouldn't call it sugary because I don't even know if you'd notice it if you didn't know. It's very subtle. I think this is still my go-to, but if you want something a little sweet, this is the one to choose. I love this glass. Can I buy this glass? Like, look how freaking nice this is. It's really fancy. It's like a whiskey glass almost. Wow. And also, if you haven't noticed, there's a jazz, like, whole collection of records behind there, and there's a really cool stereo, so it's a very fancy place. なんか夜カフェにも想像できます。なんか音楽。There's definitely a hidden spot, so if you're in Shibuya, or the backside of Shibuya, definitely check it out. I've come to Coffee Supreme, which is actually a cafe from New Zealand, and I love it because it's such a chill vibe and it's got like a huge outdoor space so you can sit outside, and it's very like lots of natural light, bright, and of course the coffee is on point. So I've ordered myself an iced latte. Yeah, that's so good. It's really strong. This is the kind of coffee I want right early in the morning to wake up. I love this area. So right now I'm in Yoyogi Uehara or Yoyogi area, and there are so many cafes here. It is a cafe lover's heaven. And so you can just cafe hop. You go right down the street and there are so many options, but these are some of my favorites. And recently I've been coming to Coffee Supreme more frequently because it's got a good menu, good people, the staff are all really friendly. They're all doing chatting to us while we're sitting here. So I really like it. And I had no idea, apparently they're in Australia too. But I don't know, something about the vibe in Tokyo is just so cool. So I don't know, even if it's a cafe from overseas, it's just a different feeling here in Tokyo. I decided to get myself one of the cheese toast sandwiches. Ooh, look at that. I love toasties, and this is such like a typical thing in Australia and I guess New Zealand too. So I love that they have it on the menu here. When you order this, it usually comes with ham, but they make it fresh so you can ask for it without. When you come to cafes in Japan, you might be surprised to find out that a lot of them actually lived in Australia or New Zealand or Canada to learn like coffee, how to make coffee, because it's like really highly regarded here. So half the time I meet people, they're like, yeah, I lived in Australia, and it's really cool because I'm like, hey, nice. People are really serious about their coffee here, and I appreciate it. If you come up to the 4th floor, they actually have an outdoor rooftop style seating, and it's really cool because you've got views of Shibuya as well as Yoyogi. So I recommend coming up here, and this is where the toilet is. That's how I discovered it last time I came. Yeah, it's really chill. And it's rare to have this kind of rooftop that's so chill and relaxed and very local. So I like the perspective from up here. So this is Kitasando Coffee, and it's a really cool place in a local neighborhood here in Tokyo, and it's unique because it has a terrace, and I feel like a lot of cafes here don't have that yet. But in the peak of summer it's a bit hot because there's not a lot of shade, so I recommend coming and sitting inside because you're actually right at the cafe counter and it's kind of a cozy feeling, and the baristas are really cute and friendly. And I ordered myself not a coffee today but a matcha latte, and there's no sugar in here, just how I like it. Ah, that's really refreshing. And it's iced because it is 30 degrees here. And I didn't realize, but they actually have an extensive menu with food. They have snacks like sweet uncle related things, but I went for a toasted cheese and tomato sandwich, and it's like a panini, so let me give it a bite. I love this so much. This is like my go-to food at cafes anywhere in the world. And I love that they're using panini, which is kind of rare in Japan too. This is a really chill vibe. But come here early, or like try and pick an off time because it gets really packed. There's no like free seats in the shade anymore. I'm here with my friend Yusaku.
Hi.
He's a Japanese guy, but he lives in Singapore now.
Yeah.
And we met in university in Kyoto. We're catching up.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it's a good place to just hang out with friends.
Yeah.
How's the coffee? Because you got a latte, right?
Yeah. It's
No, like refreshing.
refreshing and fruity.
One cool thing about a lot of cafes in Japan is that they'll have a tasting corner where you can pour yourself a little bit of usually black coffee and just give it a go, and they'll also have a lot of merch as well as beans. Take note, a lot of places are actually cashless now, so always have your cards. But the coolest thing by far was that they had a automatic machine run dripping machine. Like, look at this. This is the future. It's scary. Technology is taking over jobs, even baristas. But let me know what you think, and would you want to try this drip coffee? Another cafe I want to introduce is Cibi, and it's actually a coffee store from Melbourne originally, and they have a few locations here in Tokyo. The first one that I went to was in an area called Yanaka Ginza. It's a really cute, rustic kind of local neighborhood, and today I'm in the Kitasando area, so I decided to check out their other location. And being from Melbourne, of course they have flat white, and it's in a cute little mug. This is the regular size, and it's just such a cute little cup. Ooh, that's really smooth. I really love this coffee flavor. They've nailed it. Perfect amount of foam, like for flat white, has to be a little bit. It's really smooth. And one great feature about this cafe is the big window, so you can just look out the window. And because this is such a residential area, you can just see people going about their day. There's a pharmacy down the street. There's a supermarket, so it's very, very just authentic Tokyo vibes. So while I was sitting here, I saw this book, and it's something I've been wanting to take a look at for ages. So there's this photographer called Ben Richards, and I follow him on Instagram, and he is so talented, and they have his new book here, and it was gifted to Cibi because I guess he visits frequently, and the staff were telling me that he comes quite often. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a read while I'm just sitting here. Very beautiful. One thing on the menu they had here is a baby chino, and if you've never heard of it, it's actually a drink, I believe, that started in Australia. This was my entry into drinking coffee because my mum would always order me one, and it's just milk that's foamed as well as some chocolate powder on top. Same as like the cappuccino but without the caffeine, the coffee shot. Cheers! This is really yummy. I highly recommend getting it just because it's always cheap. It's about 200 yen. So in Australia it'd be like $1 or $2, and it's just like a really cute little thing. And I know they have these for dogs as well in Australia, like puppy chino or dog chino. So there's a lot of varieties of the cappuccino out there. Another cafe I want to recommend is the 100% organic matcha store, and this has been so popular these days. And if you don't know what matcha is, it's a type of green tea. It's a really high grade and it's very strong. But if you're not into matcha, they actually have a variety of things on the menu and sweetened versions. But today I've actually opted for something called hojicha, which is my absolute favorite Japanese green tea. It's a roasted green tea, and this is an iced one, and you can customize it so there's no sugar or with sugar. My preferred way is sugar-free, and it's so hot, so I need to take a sip of this to cool down. This is so yummy. The flavor of roasted tea is just unmatched. I am so addicted to this. And when they do it fresh, because here they're actually whisking it in like the matcha tea ceremony style way, in the bowl and everything, it's so tasty. I think this is about 700 yen, but I was feeling a little snacky, so I got their matcha dorayaki, which I've never actually been to this location before. And I'm quite excited because if you know green tea, it pairs really well with sweet food. And so, let me open this up. The bitter flavor of, especially matcha, is just so good when you have a wagashi. And this falls under wagashi, so ooh, okay. This is 400 yen. And inside, I'm gonna break it open, should be red bean paste. Yeah, there you go. It's my first time having a matcha dorayaki. It's a very subtle matcha flavor. Let me take another bite because I couldn't tell it's matcha. A very subtle hint of matcha in here. But the biggest flavor is the sweet uncle paste, which is red bean. I like it a lot. It goes very well with this drink. If you want to get souvenirs, they also sell matcha powder you can take home as well as matcha snacks. So it's a cool place to just check out. And I know like in Japan, like you want to try green tea, but you want to have something authentic. And I feel like it's reasonably good quality matcha here. And I saw there was like different levels. If you want to just get pure matcha, they had, I think from about 600 to 1,200 yen. Different tiers. And I'm curious if I still feel like I need some more caffeine after this, I could give it a go. Yeah, so depending on how expensive the tea leaves are and the grade, the price just varies so much. Yeah, and they were from Uji Kyoto and maybe Shizuoka because those are the two big tea producers in Japan. I figured I can't come here and walk away without drinking a matcha, so I got another iced latte, this time with matcha, no sugar. And I was so impressed because they had tons of different milk options. They had soy milk, almond milk, and oat milk. So if you have any dietary requirements, they've got you covered. And I noticed coffee is on the menu too, just black coffee. But yeah, I'm so hyped. This is my first time having the matcha here. Actually, I should take a photo. Wow, that is really nice. That's strong. I think compared to Hojicha, this is a lot more like bitter, so I wasn't expecting it. It's so smooth. I've been making matcha actually every morning. Instead of coffee, I've replaced it. And my matcha that I make does not compare to this at all. It's just so smooth. Like I have like when I make it, I'm not whisking it well, and I think the temperature of my hot water is a bit off, so there's like all these clumps and I'm not sifting it. So this is just such a luxurious experience drinking this. I wish I could have this every morning. This is the rooftop space right above the Matcha Tokyo, and I highly recommend just taking your drink out here and enjoying Tokyo from a new perspective. And the weather's perfect right now. I'm not sleeping tonight. You know how much freaking caffeine I'm having?